Hello, this is Colin Thompson. Welcome to the next video in our COVID coaches series. In this series, myself and other life coaches located in Shanghai, China, in the US, in South America, in Europe, will share tips that we learned going through the coronavirus outbreak here in China. We also have coaches who are currently in the hotspots around the world experiencing what's taking place now with the outbreak. In today's session, we'll have Tbird Luv, who is located in the epicenter of the US for the virus outbreak in New York City. She will share with us the importance and also tips on how to develop and maintain a positive mindset during crisis. Of course, the crisis being the coronavirus outbreak. She'll also give input on how we can best comfort and provide positive messages to our loved ones who have contracted the coronavirus. For people who have a fear of getting sick, they have a fear of the unknown. The people who are sick, they have a different kind of fear. In a lot of cases, they're fighting for their lives. We want to make sure that we're giving them messages that help bring their spirits up. As we know, the better you're feeling, the more positive your mindset is, the better your body heals and your body reacts. So we want to make sure that we understand what we can do to really motivate our loved ones. At this point, the way the virus is spreading, everybody now should know somebody or probably know somebody who is sick. The degrees of separation are really getting smaller, so it's important that we know how to support and take care of our loved ones who have contracted the virus. And again, we are a group of coaches who have come together to provide what we call the backside support. The big props and big respect go to the frontline support. Those are the doctors, the nurses, the medical workers, the individuals who must remain at work right now, facing the coronavirus outbreak face to face. For those of us who are fortunate enough to be able to provide support to those of you who are hopefully following the recommendation of staying home, we understand that during I don't like saying lockdown, but during the at-home stay period, support is also needed. So we are here to support. After our session, you'll have information on how to contact us, myself or any other coaches. And if you want some support, we have your back. So don't worry about that. And hopefully you'll not only enjoy today's video, but you'll also find some practical lessons that you can apply immediately to you and your family to make sure you guys are getting through the coronavirus outbreak period with a strong mind and body. Hey, Tbird. So first off, I want to say welcome to our COVID coaches video. Thank you for taking time out of your coaching and your being a catalyst change to give our audience a message this morning. And good morning to you. You are in the epicenter there in New York City.
Yes. It's my pleasure. Good morning, everyone, and good evening over there.
Thank you. So I want to properly introduce you. Tbird Luv, we talked about your coaching. You are a catalyst of change. You coach people on how to progress from
one stage in their life to the next, and particularly, when people are on that moment of transition, whether it's sort of a crisis or stepping into a new way of being, I help them get that courage and take the next step and step on into the version of the person that they want to be.
Yeah. And you are the person we want to be talking to today because, we want to talk about the importance of having a strong and positive mindset during crisis. And as you know, as you're feeling being in New York, I'm quite sure everywhere you look, you're seeing people who are in crisis and really need to have strength to go to that next step. So I wanted to start out by asking a few open questions on the importance of having a strong mindset, during crisis. For example, the coronavirus outbreak. What's the importance of having a strong mindset during this time period?
So, I think that without having a strong mindset, it's easy to kind of get overwhelmed and to stay inside of the fear. I think that it's natural that, that it's a scary time, the unknown. People are afraid to catch the virus, what to do with the virus. And yet, if you don't have a strong mindset, that fear will kind of knock you out of your life and keep you distracted from other things that are important. And developing a strong mindset is about, okay, let me get back to my center to kind of like be able to take responsibility and care, right? To get practical, to get grounded. Otherwise, it's easy to allow fear and overwhelm to absolutely take control. And the problem with that is, if you allow the fear to take control and not have sort of a centered place of being, then it's easy to get distracted about other things that are also important. We're in this moment of crisis with the virus all around the world, right? Everyone's experiencing this, and it is a scary time. And yet at the same time, it gives us this opportunity to really look at, well, what is important, right? What is important? How am I taking care of my health? How do I value my life and other life? We're looking at many structures around the world literally changing, falling apart. I mean, we're looking at how things have been and how they're not working right now, and how we can even better, like what we can do better. And so without being able to ground in and say, okay, even though this is happening to me, what is important to me? What are the values that I care about? Because if we're getting distracted by the fear, people are like, I'm so scared, I don't know what to do. And oh my God, and if that person has it, and
Right.
it keeps us from staying focused on actually creating the kind of life, the kind of future, the kind of world, the kind of relationships, the kind of policies, the kind of everything that are actually also important for us to stay focused on. And so I think that it's important to utilize this moment of crisis to be able to leverage it, to create opportunity, to get back to our values, to think about what's important. And you have to have that strong mindset that says, okay, yes, I know that we're in this crisis. I know that this is scary. I know that people are dying. And what else is happening? What am I learning from this? What am I learning about myself? What is important to me? What other beautiful things are happening? So we have to be able to see the opportunity within the crisis as well, so that we can move through it. Without it, we're doomed. It's easy just to be, I'm overwhelmed, I can't do anything. And if you're overwhelmed and you can't do anything and you're completely in the fear space, then that's when all of a sudden, your liberties disappear, or,
Right.
you may catch the virus. And if you have the virus, it can really bring you down. You have to have a strong mindset to get through it. And, we can think about many times in our lives, Colin, all of us have gone through some kind of crisis. Every single one of us. I don't know anybody who hasn't. And when we fall, what do? We get back up. We get up. And
Yes.
we have to remember that we have the capacity to get back up, and that this is a time to build the resilience of that strong mindset, so that we can create a better next step, the next
When do you
steps
do that?
after this.
I'm sorry to
I'm
interrupt you,
sorry?
but when it sounds great, and I agree with you,
Mm-hmm.
it does pay off and have benefits to have that strong positive mindset.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times we develop that at the end, or as we're going through something, or as you said, after we fall and we've got back up, we look back and say, hey, you know what? That made me stronger. But
Mm-hmm.
going through it, it's kind of hard to do that. How would somebody who is right now getting very frightened or has a lot of anxiety about this, how do they make that turn? A lot of times people don't know how to stop feeling a certain way and how to flip that switch, so to speak, and tell themselves, I need to start developing a positive mindset, thinking positively and whatnot. How do they do that?
Okay. Great question. So the first thing is, they just heard it now. You need to have one. So sometimes you need to hear it. You know what I'm saying? If you don't hear it, you're all in it.
Right.
So first you need to hear it. Okay. So you need to hear it, which you just did. And then the second thing is to say, okay, how are you handling that? Are you responding? Or are you reacting? Okay. It's natural to be afraid. Okay. That's the first thing. It's okay to feel afraid, everybody, because it's a scary time, and so it's okay to feel afraid, but don't let it kind of take you out.
Right.
So how do you do that? Well, how do you discern the media, right? If you're plugged into the media all day long, this is a good boundary, guys. The media, even though it's supposed to be giving a lot of news, a lot of times it puts a lot of fear into the system. And so what happens is if you're plugged into that news, that negative news all the time, you're going to feel negative. So you got to discern, okay, let me take a break from news. what's going on in my life? What's going on in my community? So we got to kind of switch our focus sometimes and look for what else is happening besides the gloom and doom. So you got to be able to discern the media. The second thing is like a lot of people are hanging out at home, right? Oh my God, you know, it gets so boring, and, you know, it's easy to complain and all these different things. But yet, yes, people are worried about their jobs and money. Yes, you know, we don't know what the future is going to look like. And we're also, finally, a lot of people get to stay home and rest.
Right.
You know, we work so hard. Stay home and rest. Think about what's important. Take care of your health. All of a sudden, we're with our families and loved ones, and maybe we need to work some stuff out, get better at communicating, valuing what we have. You know, we live in China, and, you know, I happen to have gotten, you know, stuck here in New York from being here from Christmas, but tuning in with the community over there when people were going through the virus, you know, and it being very strict, a lot of creativity kind of came out of that. I have a lot of people in my community who were saying, you know, after all this, I started to work on the projects that I've wanted to get done. You know, from writing the books, from studying that subject people wanted, from, I've had people, some of my friends who've fallen in love from being stuck in confinement with certain people. So we've got to be able to see many opportunities that are available at all times, but you have to be willing to see them by slowing down. You know, if you're at home, discern the news. If you have a backyard and you want to garden, getting back into the gardening, that book you wanted to read, looking for good news as opposed to negative news. You know, there's a lot of beauty happening right now in our communities around the globe that are doing wonderful things. Live concerts on the internet, positive stories. We have to get into that mood of like, well, let me take responsibility, respond, to be able to respond as opposed to react. I'm reacting to the fear. I'm freaked out. We got to say, let me take responsibility for how I'm feeling right now. It's okay to feel afraid, and it's okay for me to also feel something else.
Right.
So we've got to be in that kind of mindset. Make sense?
Yeah, it does. So first, hearing the message, which they're getting the message today, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then consciously making that change. And I think that you know, the ability to say, I recognize the need to have a strong mindset, I think is very important. Now, I also think it's very important coming from a parent, or I say a home leader, being able to set the tone, so to speak, for the house. A lot of times we feed off of other people's emotions. And in my house, my wife was on the side of being very anxious and frightened. And the more anxious and frightened she was, I felt the more I had to be positive about it.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, sometimes I said, honey, it's not a big deal. It'll be okay. Of course, she'll say, you think it's not a big deal, right? So it's sort of, you have to sort of balance that out. But can you speak a little bit on the need for somebody in a, I don't want to say a leadership role in the house, but somebody to set the positive tone?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And you know, I want to say that, guys, it's not negating, right, that yes, there's anxiety, right? Of course, it's natural. And at some point, I think everybody needs to take leadership, not just one person.
Mm.
And what do I mean by this? Okay, one of the things that helped me stay, and I guess, yes, it is positive, or at least it is in a strong mindset, because positivity is part of the ingredient,
Right.
but it's also gratitude. Here I am, I'm alive today. And the thing is, right now I'm in New York. I used to be a New Yorker. I was a part of 9/11. I was at the World Trade Center when it all went down. We made it through. There was a lot of beauty that happened, not just the planes going through the building. A lot of us came together. Things were free. We thought about what was important to us. And so when I say in this time of fear, everybody's got to take responsibility. Okay, well, right now, if you're on lockdown in your home. A lot of times, many of us, not everybody, who we also need to think about, we have the kind of food we want to eat, right? We have the kind of clothes we have because our ancestors hooked us up in many ways. I have to think about that. And there was always, every generation has gone through their own major form of crisis. And we have to remember that we can get through that. So when people, you know, it's like, yeah, but, the first thing I say is, okay, let's just say you're right, but how's that working out for you?
Right.
How's that moving you forward? Okay, now you're right, and then what? Right? You're right. So now be right, and then what? What we need to be focusing on is like, okay, this is going on, and not yeah, but yes, and what else? What's available to us? How are you modeling in front of your children? How are you modeling? What are you modeling in your relationships? If you're going to freak out and be scared all the time, well, how do you expect anything to change if you're not able to hear that part of you that exists, that part of you that actually has been through crisis before and got back up, that resilience?
Right.
Go find the luminaries, research people. Like my favorite people to look back on, and I swear I do this, are like Harriet Tubman and MLK. Like, I imagine, my God, can you imagine pulling people up from the Underground Railroad, right? Like the kind of fear and craze that they had to face every day.
Right.
Wow. And here we are, this small moment in our life that's a very significant, because the small moment has impact for many generations. But for this small moment, we're inconvenienced, right? And I think that that's part of the thing, is people aren't used to being inconvenienced because we've been so used to having what we want so quickly all the time, from technology to food to internet to all of these things to our jobs. And now it's forcing us to be, oh, wait, we have to be with ourselves. What's important? My family, my job. Oh my God. All of these things are kind of bringing us back to, well, what is important? So if you have children, I think anybody, it's not just only one person, but I encourage everybody to pull up their responsibility and say, well, if I stay smart, meaning I'm going to wash my hands, wear my mask, stay inside. If you have to go out, be smart, do the social distancing, but follow the protocol. Think about how you're impacting others and others impact you. Stay in that game. And then in the meantime, think about, well, I am alive. What have I always wanted to do that I haven't been able to do?
Right.
What's important to me? What can I get back to? How, look at my children, find the beauty, find also what's very real, which is all of those things I named, and then keep your channel turned to that, and then build from there, because at some point we're going to move through this. There's been so many epidemics through the beginning of time, the Black Plague. I mean, so many different things that have happened, and there's always been a group of people who've moved through that. And it's sad that many people are dying. Absolutely. And many people have been dying every day since the beginning of time. And so it doesn't negate that, but we have to stay focused on what kind of future, what kind of life we do want to create, and create those practical steps. The last thing I'll say is like, it might feel isolating, but you guys, there's so many people that you can reach out to in your community. This is a great opportunity to learn about technology. People are like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to use Zoom. Zoom is easy. You got Google, look it up. Get on YouTube.
Right.
How do you do it? This is a moment to learn about how to use technology, because it's gotten so easy. We got phones that do it. Get online, call your family, connect, do things, in my neighborhood here, on the Upper West Side. It's interesting, around 7 p.m. every day, all of a sudden, you'll hear shouting and screaming and people banging their pots and pans, but in like a celebratory way. It's like every building, it's so funny, where the entire block is on fire just to feel like we're connected again. There's so many creative ideas that we have to come up with. And one of the beautiful parts is I remember stories from my grandmother and, my mother, when, segregation was going on, how people would check in with their families, and we could get creative with how we connect. It may feel overwhelming, but stay out of the fear so that you can be open to the messages and open to step up into our responsibility.
Right. You mentioned showing gratitude, and gratitude that you're alive, and really setting that tone for the family as well. That's great. I do want you to give me some advice, and I think this may be the question I have for you, or the advice, the question I have. I think a lot of people, if they haven't thought about this, I do think they will be very shortly. I just found out this morning that my cousin is in a hospital in New York. He have coronavirus. What are some things that we can do to help somebody who is sick to have a positive mindset, not knowing what they're going through? Right, I have no idea what he's going through. His wife is a nurse. He has kids at home, little kids at home. So I have no idea what he's going through. But I want to try to build him up and help him will give him positive messages, what's the best way to do that?
So I just experienced that as well. One of my nieces, she's in Detroit, and she has the virus. So when I spoke to her, as soon as I found out that she had it, I called her up and I FaceTimed her so I could see her. So I think also seeing someone is very important, not just on the phone. And she says, I'm scared. She has 2 children, 10 and 14. She was there by herself because her fiance also had it and was hospitalized. She's trying to be a mom. It was very overwhelming. A lot of the stores there don't have all the things that people need. So she was like, you know what, I'm scared. And I said, you know what? It's okay to be scared. It's scary. And how are you taking care of yourself? Well, I'm drinking this. I'm drinking water. I'm doing this. I took Tylenol. I said, well, you're doing everything that you're supposed to do. Right. So I had to remind her she was taking responsibility. She was doing what she needed to do. We talked for a little while. I spent a lot of time with her. I didn't rush off the phone with her. I just wanted to, I spent time with her. We talked about life. We talked about when she got back up from a lot of different crises. I made her laugh. I encouraged her, certain things. I'm a very health conscious person, eating probiotics. It's important to have a good, healthy gut. Sharing some, things that I take to build up my immune system that she also ordered. We talked about, her children who she loves. And I said, look, you got a lot of left to go, and those kids, they need you. And you've been through so much. And so what's funny is that just by that conversation and getting her back into, again, that mindset that, oh my God, I'm it's easy to die. I also told her just to get off that media because she was watching the news all the time. If she's not good in her mind, it's just going to feed into her emotions that are going to bring her down. So she got off that news. And the good news, everybody, is that this was about 5 days ago. Her fever's gone. She was like, I feel so much better. I cleaned up my room. I aired it out. She's been eating more because, her food wasn't staying down. The importance of having electrolytes. So I think by giving people the advice of they're doing the right thing, taking care, right? Staying in the mindset, getting into that gratitude brought sort of a holistic approach to her healing. So if you know somebody who has the virus, call them up, talk about things that make them smile. It's okay to be afraid. And we've been afraid before. It's not like it's a new emotion. Just know that, okay, I know how to be with fear. I've been with it before. And how have I gotten myself out? So we have to train our minds to work with our emotions, be there for that person, show them that you care, give them another perspective. It's easy to say, oh, everything's going to be all right. Well, the truth is we don't really know that, but we do know that we're built with the capacity to get through things. And so it's like, you know what? You're right. So let me kind of do a couple push-ups. You know what I mean? So this is doing push-ups times. This is doing crunch time. And again, I think that mindset and feeling like you're seen and heard. So if we could see those people and let them know that they matter and, help them remember that they matter in their own lives, I think that that's part of a really important piece to help people overcome, when they're going through the sickness. Right. She's not the only person I know, friends who've had it and who've gone through it. And that's what I mean. There's a lot of good news out there. A lot of people are making it through the virus. It's just, the most vulnerable are the ones who, tend to be the ones who pass.
Right. And Tbird, thank you. So I have here, first of all, confirming with them, letting them know that they're doing the right thing or that the right place. You're in the hospital, you're exactly where you need to be. Make them laugh. I can do that. No problem there. And also helping them show some gratitude. You got a lovely wife and kid at home. Get strong so you can get back to them and whatnot. So thank you for your advice and your input today. I can guarantee you everything you shared today is going to help a lot of people.
It's my pleasure.
How can people get a hold of you? Because I'm quite sure with your energy, there's, I can imagine, just like I did, some folks that want to have a conversation with you and really learn more about how you're that catalyst. How can they get a hold of you?
So I'm on Instagram, everybody. My Instagram is Tbird Tall Flame. So Tbird, like Thunderbird. This is my Native American name, Tall Flame. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Tbird Tall Flame LUV on Facebook. My website is tbirdluv.com. For those of you, in China, my WeChat account is Game Changer for Life, and all lowercase with the number 4, Game Changer, the number 4, Life. And I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to find me. Yeah.
Okay, and we'll have your contact information in our description here as well, so folks will absolutely be able to get a hold of you. So Tbird, thank you for sharing your input, your advice on the importance and how to really develop a strong and positive mindset during this COVID outbreak period. Again, on behalf of the other COVID coaches, thank you for joining us as a COVID coach. The message we're the message we're getting out to people is a message of, quite frankly, I want to say love, happiness, peace. I like the word you use, resilience, right, during this time. So thank you for your time today. And you'll be back on another video, so we'll be seeing you again soon. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. Much love and light, everyone.